Okay, today's lesson is on the trends, consequences, and prevention of underage drinking. My name is Wes Myrick, and I'm about to tell you about the trends in underage drinking. There have been a number of trends among underage drinkers. During the 1980s and 1990s, there was a steady decline in underage drinking. But since 1995, there have been virtually no change in alcohol consumption among underage drinkers. And this is due to social pressures, going into college and it being socially acceptable. Over the last 10 years, there has been a rise in the consumption of underage teenage drinkers. Among teenagers, whites and African Americans consume more alcohol than any other racial group. Asian underage Americans drink less on average than any other racial group. Peer pressure is big with underage drinking. A lot of males talk underage females into drinking because it's socially acceptable their senior year in high school and in college. Teenagers are more likely to drink and drive after underage drinking than adults are. Teenagers are also, underage drinkers who consume alcohol are also more likely to be sexually active than adults because they're not used to as many situations where alcohol is involved. About 60% of high school seniors drink on a weekly basis. Teenagers who have a good relationship with their parents are less likely to drink because their parents teach them to stay away from people who are negative influences with alcohol. And teenagers who have parents that drink are more likely underage drinkers and teenagers who have parents that drink are more likely to become alcoholics because they're exposed to the alcohol more often and think it's acceptable because their parents are setting the bad example. And teenagers who drink alcohol are more likely to commit suicide because it's tough for them to deal with drinking and all the social aspects that come into play. Thank you.
My name is Caitlin Fetters, and in the rest of today's lesson, I'm going to talk about the consequences of underage drinking. A lot of the consequences are unknown to teens due to ignorance about alcohol and its consequences. As we can see here, a glass of wine, a beer, a shot, and a wine cooler all have the equivalent amount of alcohol, and a lot of teens don't know that, so they drink recklessly and don't think about the consequences. Some problems that plague a lot of teens who drink are social problems, such as being absent from school, having poor grades, engaging in violence, having a lack of participation in social activities with peers. The legal problems that can plague teens include drinking tickets, drinking and driving, or any violent acts that may occur while under the influence of alcohol. There is an array of physical problems that plague everyone who engages in alcohol use, but teens in particular are more vulnerable to illness, as well as injuries such as burns, falls, or drowning that can occur while under the influence of alcohol. And of course, the dreaded hangover that plagues most teens, especially in a college setting, is another physical ailment. The unwanted, unplanned, and unprotected sexual activity is another severe consequence of underage drinking. Teens often go out, party, get really drunk, end up having sex with someone they don't know, having unprotected sex with someone they do know or don't know, and these at-risk behaviors put them at a very bad place. So the risk of being assaulted is also increased for teens who engage in alcohol use. That's physical assault as well as sexual assault. That risk increases for males and females, but significantly more for females. An increased risk of suicide as well as homicide has been associated with the underage use of alcohol, as well as problems with memory, changes in brain development, alcohol poisoning, and eventual death are also consequences. One consequence that we see the most is the abuse of other drugs, which can be inspired by repeated alcohol use. To supplement this lesson, we are going to watch a video of some real-life experiences speaking about underage drinking and the consequences that have occurred in some teens' lives.
If recreational drugs were tools, alcohol would be a sledgehammer.
I mean, it is here. All of the statistics and information we have say, that it is here, and the kids are struggling across the board. And it's not because, of anything we did or didn't do. It's because we're kids, and this isn't a perfect world.
This is happening whether you like it or not in this community. We can't ignore the fact that there's a problem here. It's been documented, and rather than being frightened of that problem, I think it takes a community to really pull together and come up with solutions.
He was a lovely kid with a great future that made a terrible decision one night that cost him his life.
I definitely do know people who had too much to drink and who ended up in situations that I know they regretted.
I'd say when I went into high school, it became more of a lifestyle.
Everyone thinks they're going to be okay and that nothing bad is going to happen, and it does. Not all the time and not most of the time, but it does, and when it does, it's big.
So I drank, all the time. That's who my friends were, the partiers, and it was fun then. It really was.
I want parents to get in touch with their children. This is only one trip you make. I mean, this is the journey.
It's okay to speak up, and it's okay to say things that may not be socially acceptable, because it may save your life someday.
As you can see in the video, underage drinking is very serious, and there's many ways for parents and everyone, really take charge and get this stuff under control. My name's Sean Thompson, and I'm going to be talking today about the prevention of alcohol drinking, underage alcohol consumption. There's different ways that you can do this. Obviously, within your school is a big factor. Extracurricular activities, right at home in your own family is also usually the main point that can stop underage drinking, and also in the community. At school, just giving information, educating students about underage drinking is very important, and that can be the number one tool that can be used. Also developing personal, social, and resistance skills, how to say no, obviously, everyone knows that, say no to drugs and alcohol. Trying to get these skills and structured and have values and understand that getting drunk and drinking isn't the other thing you can do on the weekend. Also, not just doing it just in high school. Start at an early age, and they do have that in a lot of places, but multiple sessions over multiple years. Get the teachers really to support it. Not a lot of teachers will back it. They'll support non-drinking. So extracurricular strategies. Just better supervision by adults. That's pretty much the biggest problem in today's youth. They don't really have that father figure or role model really to set the boundaries. Also, youth leadership, having your friends take charge, and not be a bad influence. For family and strategies, just again, that can be your parents right there as well. Development of skills and involving child and parents in different places in the community. They both go hand in hand. Again, just developing these skills. They do have stuff in the community. They have taxes and have a legal age drinking limit of 21, and pretty much try to limit alcohol to children as much as they can. Developing from these, more safety, better choices are going to be made if all these things go through. So that's our presentation for today. Thank you.